Hello, and welcome to the Reading Comprehension class. Vocabulary is a very basic part in advanced reading comprehension. When we read, we improve our vocabulary. An active reader looks up unfamiliar words, but this is a problem. What if you don't have a dictionary? If the text has too many difficult words, the reader is totally overwhelmed and ends up not learning anything. So how do we get around this problem? Where words are simple, the reader doesn't have to look at words. In this lesson, we'll bring some exercise to improve your ability to use the context to help you determine the meaning. Now, how to learn new words. 1. You have to see or hear a word 7 times before you can remember what it means, and this can be referred to as passive knowledge. And 2. Before you can use the word, you have to see or hear it 11 times. I'm here to tell you the best things to do when you come across words that you don't know is to use vocabulary in context skills. Context refers to the words, sentences, and the language surrounding the unknown word. At first, some words in a sentence will tell you exactly what a word or a phrase means. For example, called, is, are, were, was, like, include, including, such as, known as, meaning, or. Now, take a moment and pause the video. You need to circle the clue word in each of the following sentences, and then please underline 2 words or phrases that have a similar meaning. For time management, I'll explain 2 examples for you. In the first example, Mars is the fourth planet from the Sun. The clue word is helps us in defining the word Mars. That is, what comes after the clue word is defines the word Mars. In example 4, the process of turning light into energy, called photosynthesis, is the reason most plants need sunlight. The clue word "called" tells us that the meaning of or the concept referring to the process of turning light into energy is coming up. That term or meaning is photosynthesis. Part of reading comprehension involves using the other words in a sentence or passage to understand an unknown word. An author often includes hints or clues to help the reader expand vocabulary and grasp the meaning of the passage. You learn to use the context clues such as explanation, example, synonyms, antonyms, etc. in the sentence to find the right answer. Let's take a look at the first type of context clues, and that is example. Authors may include an example to help explain an unknown word. For this purpose, they may use example clue words such as for example, for instance, such as including, etc. that let you know that an example is coming up. Consider this example, please. There are many forms of transportation, such as a bus, a car, or a train that can get you to the zoo. Now, a reader may come across this word, transportation, Well, here the author lets you know that he is going to give you an example of what transportation is. So, we have a bus, a car, and a train. Now, you may be thinking that transportation means system for moving people or things. Okay, let's take a look on the next type of context clue, which is a synonym. A synonym is the word that means the same as another word. This means the author may provide another word of similar meaning to the word that you don't know. So, when you see a word that you don't know, look around it for a word that you do know. You could substitute the word you know for the unknown word, and that generally makes sense. That's your clue. A synonym context clue looks like this. Consider this example. Birds that migrate, such as some ducks and geese, move to their new home in the winter. So here, some of you may have unknown the word migrate. Could be. Some of you may need to read the whole sentence to get the meaning of the word migrate. You'll find that the context clue is the word move to. So you might think to use of that, okay, if I substitute it, that makes a perfect sense, which means migrate means to move to. Our next tip for context clue is an antonym. An antonym is a word that means the opposite of a word. They might be confusing because authors use antonym context clues to explain the meaning of the word through contrast. So, you'll see words like however, but, yet, on the other hand, and in contrast to signal antonym context clue. Let's take a look on one of those examples. The lanky dog was not fat, even though he ate a lot. So here we have this word lanky, and we think to ourselves that we have no idea what lanky means. Now we have the clue not helping us that what is coming up means the opposite of lanky. So, though he ate a lot, which assumes that he should be fat, he is not fat. That is, the word fat means the opposite of the word lanky. Lanky means not fat or thin. Okay, this step of context clue asks a reader to have connections throughout the text. Here is one example. Ellie is a blithe young girl. She always greets everyone with a smile. We may ask, how is Ellie a blithe young girl? One would answer using the second sentence. She always greets everyone with a smile. So in this example, one can guess that blithe refers to happy, or cheery. Now, our next step of context clue is the general sense of the passage. Sometimes you have to look at all of the details to figure out the meaning of unknown words. Consider this example, please. Whatever their attraction, these shows are among the most popular on television, and every season they proliferate like weeds in an untended garden. One might ask, what does proliferate mean? Again, even if you have no idea what proliferate means, you can still tell what kind of word it is by the way it is used. You know, for example, that these shows proliferate like weeds in an untended garden. Therefore, you can answer this question. Proliferate is a word associated with growth. The final type of context clues you could use to find out the meaning of unknown words is word parts. You might be familiar with prefixes, the word parts added to the beginning of the word, suffixes, word parts added at the end of the word, and roots, which are the parts of the word that make up the basic meaning. How do you use these parts of the word to guess the meaning of unfamiliar words? Let's give this simple example. Revitalize. Let's pretend that you've never seen this word before. So, what you want to do is to see if you could break up the word into parts that you may know. Okay, re seems to mean to do or repeat something again. Vite refers to something needed to be alive or to live along. So, to revitalize may mean to live again. Anyway, this part will be discussed in depth in the next video. Finally, I leave you with this exercise. Try using context clues to figure out the meaning of the underlined words in the following examples. Before we finish this topic, please remember that it is best not to skip a word and move on when reading. Instead, utilize context clues that we've just discussed. It's really important to look at the context of the passage because a word could mean so many different meanings in the real life, but what we look for is one specific meaning found in the passage. You can pause the video while you answer the questions. The target of this exercise is to find the meaning of the word gross in each text. Here, you need to read the passage extracted from Panorama 1 and then match the words with the definitions. Here is a list of some references to this material and some helpful links. Thanks for listening.